I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Ooh, yeah. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Ooh, yeah. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. I'm a businessman, yes, I'm an entrepreneur. Ooh, yeah. Crystal Mitchell, do you have my business plan? Just
good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. This is the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, the small business paramedic. Hey, small businesses, how you doing? It's been a while. I haven't seen you in about 6 months, Crystal.
It seems like, man, you go away and then it's like a long time and then you come back and then you go away again. It's like, oh, man, where is he gone? So
it's like I don't live here anymore.
Well, no, you live here. The other name, Crystal and Gilbert.
That's what I'm talking
Crystal
about.
And Gilbert. So even when you're not here, you're here.
I'm still here.
You're still here.
Well, small businesses, it's good to be back with you on the air. And we really have a lot of great information for you. Today's show is going to be phenomenal. And Crystal's got some good information that she's going to share with you. So, Crystal, what's been going on?
Well, mine has been adapting to Mount SAT. And we are in our third week. Actually, when I come back next week, next week, it will be our fourth week in class, and I have an exceptional class. They have just picked up so quickly. They've already moved. From the previous classes I've done, I'm like a week and a half ahead.
Oh, wow. That's
so that
great.
means I got to keep up with them so that, I give them a practice set and they're done. It's like, whoa. Y'all supposed to take at least 2 weeks. And
supposed to work on this thing.
But it's a little easier now. Now I'm not necessarily having to do the instruction every day.
Yeah.
So the first 2 weeks is tough.
That's great.
For 4 hours, I'm talking.
Yeah.
And now I actually talk for maybe the first hour or 15, 20 minutes, and then they start on their practice, and they're excited.
That's good.
They're
That's
really
very good.
excited. And guess what? I had, so I know it's working. I know we like things to be instantaneous, but I got a call from a colleague who's a CPA, and he was looking for kind of entry level or someone that has some knowledge of QuickBooks and or some instruction, and he wants to groom them. His assistant is going. She left after 20 years of working with him. So he says, I knew I could call you, and I said, well, it just so happens I'm working with this program.
That's great.
And we've on our fifth. I think this is our fifth class.
Yeah.
And so we got some out there that's been working for about a year or so, and so you can groom some of those.
That's good. That's good. So is he going to bring one of them in?
I'm going to talk to Delilah and find out who's what, and then send him some names and resumes.
That's good.
And then there's a guy in our class, in my class right now,
ready to go.
Ready. He could actually. He could actually get his certificate on Monday and go to work full time. That's how quick he was.
Wow.
And yesterday, the practice that I gave him, it was all involved. It would be like a seasonal bookkeeper would be doing. And he was like, he just had a couple of questions, and he went, oh, okay, that's what I thought it was. And then he was gone. He completed everything on Friday, on Wednesday.
That's the kind of talent we want to produce.
Yeah, so that's pretty cool. And there's 10 of them in the class. So I would say 8 out of the 10 are pretty sharp.
That's great.
Yeah.
That is great. You know, that stands to your testament, Crystal, because if you weren't as good as you were, then you wouldn't be able to get these guys ready in the time frame that you do, and then connect them with opportunities. So much respect to you, man.
Well, and we know you and I. I don't know how many times we had a conversation that in all our small businesses, that's the principal problem.
Yeah.
The foundation of their financials are just not in order. And I was talking to someone yesterday, which was interesting. He called me, and Kane, Kane has been came on the show, and he was asking me, he wanted to refer someone to me. And he said, so what are the source documents? What do you need to get started? And so I said, well, bank statements and check register or receipts or something. He says, I don't think this guy has any of those. Well, I really can't make nothing out of nothing, man. I got to have something, a bank statement.
You have to get your magic wand.
Right. Create some stuff for them. No, can't do it that way.
Man.
But it's absolutely amazing that they don't find that important.
I know. It's amazing. I mean, a lot of small business, a lot of entrepreneurs, they have the ability to do things, but they just, I don't know if they don't know they're supposed to do things or they don't think they need to do it, because if they're working on their craft, they think the craft is sufficient, and that's not.
No.
You got to have the infrastructure in place.
And it might be sufficient when you first open the doors,
Yeah.
but after the third or fourth or fifth year, the business has to grow, right?
Yeah.
So it's and when it starts to grow, you start bringing on employees, and you try to go after bigger deals. You don't have the infrastructure.
Yeah.
To handle that. I was talking to someone this morning, and she was telling me she had referred some business over to her daughter, and her daughter had gotten this person a wonderful contract, and then afterwards he just hounded him to death for his money. Now, when you're doing business with business to business, we're talking invoice. We're talking 30-day out, 60-day out.
Yeah.
So whatever that is, you got to be able to 30 days. You should be able to wait. You should be able to sustain yourself and have other streams of income coming through. Hey, Alicia, welcome to the Business Zone. Glad that you checked in, David and Lloyd and Reggie. Thank you guys for checking in on Facebook Live. You can also see us at morrismedialive.com, and you can see myself and you can see Gilbert. Hey, William, how are you?
And go ahead and give us a call right now.
And give us a call at 323-293-3375. Today, you are going to have just Gilbert and I. We had a guest, but you know what? Things happen for a reason, and that's fine. So
it's been a long time they haven't talked to just you and I.
Right. So we're just going to have a conversation.
Yes.
We're going to talk about the steps to changing our economic state in our communities, reinvesting in our communities, what our organizations and what some of us coaches and so forth and individuals are doing on our level. But before we do that, Gilbert, you have been away in Vegas.
Oh, yes.
Done with it. Why don't you tell us all about that contract?
Well,
Vegas is doing it right with their employees, right?
Oh, they are. They are doing it right, man. And that's why I want to make sure I spread the love here, too.
Okay.
To let our entrepreneurs here in California know that, there are a certain way of doing business, and they have to get on board. They've got to do it in order to obtain opportunities. It's all about relationships. And there's a lot of relationships in Vegas. A lot of relationships.
Really?
Yes.
Okay.
So we want to help these businesses here in California form those relationships and support and sustain and nurture those relationships also, so that they can get opportunities. The program I'm working on, Crystal, the last class is going to be this coming week.
Okay.
So that's class number 8, and we're getting ready to do a graduation ceremony for these contractors, and it's phenomenal. We're gonna be bringing in some great strategic partners. We're looking at MGM. We're looking at the airport, McCarran Airport. We're looking at NDOT, which is the Nevada Department of Transportation.
Okay.
We're looking at all these other entities that's going to partner with us. The banks, we're looking at lenders as well. We're going to bring them all together so they can see the team and the pool of qualified businesses that just went through our system.
So about how many businesses were in the class?
There are 22 that registered and started out initially. Now we have about 17 that's going to graduate.
That's not a bad transit. Yeah. And what type of, so all of them are in construction?
Yeah, most of them are in construction. You've got 1 or 2 professional services here or there. But most of them are either general contractors, flooring contractors, plumbers, electrical.
Okay.
A trucker, hauler, and it's just phenomenal.
Now, what was their input or feedback to you from what they learned from the class?
Oh, it's amazing. I got to show you these emails. And I'm also planning on doing some videos with some of these folks.
Oh, good.
A lot of these folks said, you know what, when I first came to the class, I never thought, would get anything tremendous out of it, because
most
of these classes are just, we attend and that's it. But they're saying, once we start attending this class, we start seeing a difference. It's showing us a different way of running our business. Capability statements, we didn't even know what that was. We didn't know what building your infrastructure was all about. Cash flow management, we knew what that was, but we didn't understand the different types of financial statements that you need to have and how to go about looking at and creating your ratios. It was just amazing. And then we also helped them to develop statement of qualifications, which a lot of them, they've done before, but the way I do it in a forensics manner, I break it down for them.
Okay.
So now they start seeing the value of having a statement of qualifications.
Wow, that's fantastic.
And then with the fact we also did contract compliance, we also looked at being contract ready and procurement. It was just a phenomenal thing.
So where are they? What's the phase they're in now?
Well, many of these businesses, they're anywhere from 2 years in business to 40 years in business.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah.
That's a good
range.
Right, exactly.
So there's one contractor. He's been in business for 40 years, and he's done electrical, lighting, and all of that. He invents this vest. It's one of those safety vests.
Oh, okay.
With fluorescence, and it's got lights on it.
Oh,
so when you're out there in the dark,
at dark time, nighttime,
you can see them. And the lights are set up. It's battery operated. And the lights are set up so that if you're in a certain zone, the lights are green. If you're in another area, it turns red.
Oh, wow.
It's just amazing.
That's pretty cool.
I am so excited.
So had any of them been doing, had they been working with any of the hotels or any of the?
Well, I have a few, about 4 of them that's been working with MGM and Mandalay Bay and a few others. And these guys are seasoned guys. They've been in the industry for a while. As a matter of fact, some of them are union. Okay. So, they really know, how to go about doing what they do. And they're respected in the area, and they've been through the class. And, they're just very grateful to have this type of program to help guide and shape their business.
So now this came through the chamber, right?
No, actually, this came through the Nevada Contractors Association. So the Nevada Contractors Association decided that they wanted to help their contractor population. Now, the Nevada Contractors Association, they're in partnership with AGC, which is Association of General Contractors. And we've got a facility, we've got a branch here in West Covina.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and that's a national organization.
So let me ask this question: so now, because I know they're building a stadium, right?
Yeah.
So, the way Las Vegas offers their opportunities, is it different from what happens here in the state of California?
It's totally different.
Okay, so what's the difference?
It is totally different. So there's a lot of commercial contracts in Las Vegas because of the hotels and resorts. So you have more commercial opportunities than there are government opportunities. While here you have more government opportunities than the commercial.
Okay.
So with government opportunities, the rules and guidelines and requirements are strong. People need to follow those things.
Right.
When you have more commercial, you have less rules and regulations and guidelines. So they can
it can be it really is based on relationships at that point.
It's really based on relationships.
That's how you get in, right?
Exactly. Okay. Because people have their own little clique of preferred contractors, vendors that they use. So in order to get into that, you got to get in well and demonstrate that you are a good and quality contractor.
And it was that some of what your class was about. More about building relationships.
That's exactly what the class was about.
You're going to be doing that for RBD on June 22nd.
Yes.
So you didn't got really seasoned in it.
I can't wait. I'm excited. To do that, Crystal. Very excited. As a matter of fact, I'm hoping we will have about at least 20, 25 people in that class so we can do some great things.
Yeah, well, I just started really marketing. We wanted to get past, hey, Alicia, you can call in on this one. This is your area of expertise of supplier diversity. We're starting to really market the flyer, the information now.
Good.
For the 4.
And let's send it to Sharon's group and NAMAC and all these other groups.
We will.
Yeah.
It is funny that you talked about that because yesterday I went to George Frazier was in town, Dr. George Frazier, and we're getting ready for the Power Networking Conference in Baltimore. So I'm really excited about that. So he was here to talk about it. And one of the things, the topic was supposed to be networking, but I think when you are a speaker and you kind of mix and mingle with the people in the room and you realize that maybe that might not be, I need to talk about a different subject. I think he got that feeling. So it didn't really go in that direction. But Barbara Lindsay and I were talking, and she was saying there are not enough opportunities or not enough events out here about networking, and truly people don't know how to network build relationships. So I'm talking to somebody else about a big conference that we want to have during the Global Entrepreneur Week, and that's one of the big subjects we want to talk about.
Great.
So definitely want you to be one of the trainers
on
that, on building relationships and how to take those relationships from being an associate to actually to a contract and creating a revenue from
and that's the whole purpose about networking. The whole purpose is one, to build up your skills and your craft on how to actually network, to convert that network into opportunities for your business.
Right.
And many folks, they kind of fall short because they do the networking, and then that's where it stops. No follow-up, nothing else. They don't bring anything to the table of value to show whomever they're networking with that, hey, I can be a resource for you.
Right.
So that's going to be great.
And last night when I walked into it was about 50, 60 people. And when I came in, it's like from the gate, and without a church in Inglewood, from the gate into the fellowship hall. It was just I couldn't even get to the registration because of all the people.
Everybody want a piece of your time.
Yeah, everybody want a piece. Hey, Chris, like whatever. But then we had like a little speed networking segment of it. Yeah. And so they were like, okay, go around the room and speak to somebody that you don't know. And I'm going,
I know everybody in here.
Wow, I don't think. One person way over there in the corner. I don't know, but basically from that circle, I pretty much knew which tells me I need to move out to another circle. But from my standpoint, from their standpoint, but it also says that I've expanded that network so that I know, and people know me. It's not even that me just knowing them. People know who I am, and people were walking up going, "Oh, I need you to. We're going to have this event in September. I need you. Can you be the MC?" And That's what you want, right?
Yes.
You want the people to be calling you to do stuff, not you having to call and beg them for stuff.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. And a lot of individuals or business owners or entrepreneurs, they may have a lot to offer, but they don't know how to deliver it.
Right.
And by us putting together, what we call the elevator pitch, and delivering it is going to be amazing. And one of the things that I do in one of my workshops, an elevator pitch, there's a phrase that I use called even if. You got to use that even if scenario, because small businesses, the way things are set up, it's against us at all times. So when you go for opportunities, they're going to tell you no. You go to customers, they're going to tell you no. Your competition everybody's going to tell you no. Right. So you gotta build up a proof against that no. Right. And the way in which to build that proof against the no is to build that even if scenario. And that's what I teach in the class. Okay. So I may approach you and say, I'm Gilbert Buchanan, owner and founder of Buchanan and Associates, and we're a supply diversity small business firm. We provide business management and contract readiness training and support for small businesses. I would like to extend our services to you to help you out to grow and develop your business.
Right.
Even if you already have all your key documents or you're already working with a consultant, we would love to provide some support for you. We want to let you know we're here. So that even if right there is getting ready to counteract that no.
Right,
that
exactly.
You're hear.
Exactly. And
you
that
see what
really
I mean?
does. Because it's like, oh, wait.
Exactly.
Even if I know you already have.
Exactly.
Right, exactly.
And a lot of times, this is a classic case. A lot of times when small business approach a contract provider or a client, the client will say, oh, I'm sorry, our budget cannot sustain that. We don't have the money. So even if you have a small budget, we're willing to work with you.
Right.
We can break up the payments in installments.
Exactly.
You see what I mean?
So you're meeting them on their terms.
Oh,
so
yes.
there's a win-win that can come out of it.
Because you know they're
I want to
you.
bring my services to you, and
you're going to tell me that it's too expensive for you.
Right, exactly.
So even if you think it's too expensive, we've got a payment plan. We've got programs to break up this payment for you to make it affordable.
Exactly. Yeah. And I get that a lot of times. So in fact, recently, it was a referral for a young lady that has a juice bar in Pasadena, and she's just at that place. She's self-funded, a beautiful place. She's wonderful, clean. Great concept. It's natural juices, and she has one employee, and they even started fixing not just juice. They actually fill like oatmeal and that kind of stuff for the morning kind stuff. So she self-funded this. So now she's at that place where she has to have financials.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes.
I mean, because she was a referral from Vermont Slauson to me, and they wanted to get her some capital. So I meet with her, give her some ideas and suggestions, and then I give her my proposal. And so I get a response back. Well, I don't know if I can afford it.
See?
Really?
That's the first block right there.
Right. I mean, if you are... So even if you need to be able to, you want capital to raise capital, and the only entry for you to get there is for you to provide them with financials for 2 years, and you're gonna come back and say, I can't afford it. Well, okay, we can divide it over a time frame.
That's right.
And I mean, okay, but I'm trying to help you get to the carrot.
Exactly.
The carrot says you can't have the carrot until you get this done.
We're trying to get you to that stage of readiness.
And you can't go to a bank or a community a lender. You can't even go to a hard money lender without some sort of documentation. That is not the world we live in anymore. So, and as a business owner, that's not a choice. Financials are not an option. Accounting is not an option.
It's a critical part of running the business, and that's why we call it the vital statistics of the business.
Right.
You got to have financials. Because if you don't have the numbers and you don't know the numbers, it might as well just close your doors and leave.
You can't even talk to them if they're asking you what's your break even. You're looking like and you're stammering and you're trying to figure it out in your head and gonna come up with some fantastic lie, and they're gonna see right through it.
They're gonna see right through it
because there are a number of questions they're gonna ask you in succession. They're gonna ask you what's your break even.
Then they're gonna ask the ratios,
and then they're gonna ask the ratios, and then in your margins. And by the time you get done, you done tied yourself into a knot.
Exactly.
You don't know any of those.
And then that's how they're gonna know: 1, either you're a liar; 2, you don't know anything about your business; 3, you're just blowing smoke; or 3, they're wasting their time with you.
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Makes no sense to me.
Yes.
And so I had to tell her, I said, well, I mean, that's all I can offer you.
Yeah.
I can offer you a payment plan. I will get it done as quickly as I possibly can so you won't incur, but I can't offer you anything else. And so she goes, I'm going to look around. Okay, you have that option to do.
And that's another option. That's another argument that they use. One of those no arguments to say, well, let me look around. I'll get back to you. They'll never get back to you.
No.
You know they're not going to.
No.
Even if you want to look around and find other options, here's my card. I know that you will not find any other opportunities better than the one I'm offering you. I will follow up with you on Monday.
And then here, for me, from the accounting bookkeeping standpoint, here's what happens to me. They go look around. They find somebody that will tell them they will do their bookkeeping for them.
Half the price.
Yeah. Right? And you get what you pay for.
Exactly.
You truly in this industry get what you pay for. If you want the $10 an hour bookkeeper, you're gonna get $10 an hour
type of work
and financials, and it's gonna be all in the chart of accounts is gonna be a mess. Everything's gonna be a mess because they don't understand.
Exactly.
So. Or they go to the other extreme. Well, I'm not going to go to you because you're black, and I don't think you may not know what you're talking about. And I'm going to go pay $3,000 to this guy over here because they told me whatever. And then you're going to come back to me and say, they messed my books up. Okay, so what do you want from me?
Yeah.
Because I gave you that option in the beginning. So I don't know. It's just George Fraser said last night that your path to success is only the only barrier is the decisions or the just simple decisions that you make. Whether you go right or wrong.
That's
you go
true.
to the right or you go to the left.
Whether you go compliant or non-compliant.
Right. So that is the only thing that's keeping you from success is the decisions that you choose to make.
That is true.
And the inaction.
True. And sometimes we try to be cheap about our business, and we decide to bring in certain people, like you say earlier, who may give you a cheap price. Now, not doing a background check on this person, not checking out the person's history, their credibility, their expertise, their credentials, and then only to find out that, one, this person doesn't really know what they're doing, and they put your business in such a bad state that it was worse than where it was before.
Right, exactly. And then they come back to the one that actually could have done it, and you got to create miracles in a very short period of time, because by the time they get back to you, wherever they needed those financials, that closing date or that closing time is right there. Now they're rushing you. Don't rush me.
And I just want to let all the entrepreneurs out there know that when we approach you in good conscience, in a good faith effort manner, and we're offering you opportunities, we're offering you support, we're offering you help, and you turn it down because, one, you don't really want to do it, or two, you feel like you want to go with someone cheaper or lower in cost, and then that person turned out to be a nightmare, then you come running back to us. We're going to increase our prices on you.
Oh, I like that.
Just want to let you know.
Okay, I like that. Yeah,
just want to let you know.
So now the price has just gone up $40.
Oh, yeah. We're going to increase our prices on you. And we call that a convenience fee.
Right.
That's a convenience and a knowledge-based fee, teaching you a lesson.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that idea.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to put that on my marketing material.
Oh, yeah.
If you come to me and I didn't give you your proposal and then you go off somewhere and come back, okay, the price is higher.
Price is going to be higher.
Let you know that now. The price is higher.
And as consultants, we have that flexibility. We can do it.
I like that, Gilbert. I'm going to incorporate that in my proposals.
Oh, yeah. That's exactly what I do, because, one, they wasted your time. You sit with them. You gave them. When you give someone a proposal, you know how much time it takes to write that proposal? It takes a lot of time.
Because you got to think of it for that individual.
Exactly. It's specific for them.
Right.
So even though you have a template, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to give them, the generic approach.
Right.
You got to tailor it for them, and it takes time for that. And then you give it to them, and they run off with someone else and say, oh, this other person's going to do it. Sorry. And then that person messed them up. And they come running back.
Right. And I had to learn, sometimes you have to learn when to say no.
Yeah.
And who's a client that you want. So a couple of years ago, I had someone that they could not get their contract with the county. It was the county of LA. They could not get their contract because when they did their financials, whoever did their balance sheet didn't do the debt ratio correct, right, or whatever. So they were like, they couldn't. So I had to go back, all the way back to wherever the mistake started, which is like 2 years before.
Wow.
So I had to bring that all up, so what have you. So then after I've done all that work, and I pretty much, because she needed it in such a time frame, I kind of push back other clients that I could be working on or should have been working on or taking on new clients to spend all the time just for her, right? So I do the whole thing, get it done. She takes it to the county. They're like, fantastic. They were just over the top, got the contract.
Right.
Then about, I want to say about a month later, I get a call from her, and she says, oh, can I get all of my records? And I was like, sure. I mean, they're yours, right?
Yeah.
You can get all the records. And then she says, oh, and can you schedule a time with the new person that that's going to do my books?
What?
I'm like, are you out of your mind?
After you did all of this grunt work, try to bring her up to par because she was in a state of chaos.
Right.
And you've done all of that.
Right.
Gave her a lot of discounts, time. You didn't charge her for certain time.
Yes, because you know that. Because I mean, it really could cost more money.
Exactly.
So you do, especially if you see it. If I see that this could be an ongoing client, then I may not charge you for every hour.
Wow.
Or every service that I do. I might lump some of them in.
Yeah.
It's just what I'm feeling when I create my invoice, right? So yes, she had the nerve, and then she couldn't understand why I was upset.
Unbelievable.
I said, you know what? Here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to send you your files.
Yeah.
And the same way I figured out your files, if she's a bookkeeper or an accountant, she will figure it out.
Oh,
she will have to figure it out. No, I'm not going to train her. Really?
No.
No, this is not corporate. This is not corporate Crystal where she goes over and trains somebody else to take her job.
Yeah.
No.
That is unbelievable. She got a nerve.
Was that a nerve?
She's still in business?
Yeah, she's still in business.
Oh, my
nervy.
Lord.
That's nervy,
That's
right?
very nervy.
Yes, that's what I thought. I sent off a scaling letter to make sure, because I think that's the other thing. We need to, and I was talking about this to someone this morning, we need to make, when people do that, I think we have to make people accountable for their actions, right?
Oh, yes.
You got to, in a nice, pleasant way. But look, I'm in business.
Yeah.
And so, no, I don't think it's appropriate for you to ask me to train someone on work that I just finished. And there was no animosity between us. You paid me. I thanked you. Everything was done in compliance to the contract.
Right.
And then you're going to go off because this person's cheaper?
That's
no,
ridiculous.
I'm sorry. So I wrote her a nice little letter.
Well, I guarantee you she's not with that person anymore.
Oh, no. She's probably been to 2-3 of them. So we want to take a quick break.
Yeah, let's go ahead and take a break. We're at 3:30 here on the downside of the hour. So you're on the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert.
And we can do that video when she
meet
gets
Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.
I almost ran for mayor of Washington, D.C. in 2010. And I found that Washington, D.C., the nation's capital, majority African American city, had the second highest poverty rate in America. Almost 40% of every African American citizen in that city was living in poverty. So you look at those statistics and you say, what in the world is going on here? Lack of economic opportunity. So we're where we are today because we have the entrepreneurial spirit has been taken away from us.
You talk about economic development, business opportunities, business growth, small business development. All of those things the African American community still is not seeing the full fruition of.
Our education in America has not provided or prepared us to be able to compete with Europeans economically. So we should not be surprised that we're so economically backward because we were never taught how to be economically forward.
Racism was an economic issue. It's always been an economic issue. It's not a social issue. It's not a political issue. It's an economic issue.
I'm Madam C.J. Walker's great-great-granddaughter. I grew up in the hair care business with both parents working in hair care.
Capitalism means learning how to own and control the land, resources, and businesses, and use other people's labor to enrich yourself.
It was terrible for the Negro Leagues. Integration was terrible for the Negro Leagues.
It's about ownership of assets, and that's where real wealth is created, and that's where real power is created.
And it's not social integration, it's not civil rights that determines your opportunities, your equal opportunities, or your competitiveness. It's what you own and control in terms of vital resources. That's what determines what you're going to get in this world.
We are being faced with economic annihilation, which is why if we don't come together and unify as a people, it's only a matter of time before there might not be too many African Americans left in this country.
The fight today is not for equal rights. It's for equal economic empowerment.
Which end of the stick do y'all want? Do you want integration? Do you want segregation? I said, I don't want either end of the stick.
All right. Welcome back to the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, the small business paramedic. Crystal, it's time to wake up.
Time to wake up. So this weekend, I was invited to a movie screening. Robert Lewis, who was on our show a couple weeks ago with the Black Community Investment Fund group. Mm-hmm. So he was introducing that group to a number of individuals. There were about 15 people in the room, but we were invited to see this film, and it's called 7 a.m. Mm-hmm. And it's the first comprehensive exploration of why poverty is the problem and business is the solution to the problems that we have in our community. Right. Being RBD and I've seen and heard, and that's really the reason that RBD came about was as a result of the 92 riots, right? And so did Operation Hope and another number of other organizations. So fast forward to 2017, and I'm watching this, and we're saying, and it was a couple of very profound messages that they had stated in it, is that if you're Black and you're broke, it's time to wake up.
I agree.
Right? Because we can't ask for anyone to do anything for us if we're not woke to accept it. Mm-hmm. I mean, how many people do you talk to on a regular that they're telling you about an opportunity, and why they're telling you about the opportunity, they're talking themselves out of the opportunity.
Oh, yeah.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
So one of the things so a couple of the highlighters was Dr. Charles Anderson, and he has the book on Powernomics. Mm-hmm. And so when we're talking about making change, the change that has to take place is the economic situation in our communities, and we're the only people that can do that. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So we have to be able to to be able to create jobs, but not jobs that just feed you and your family, that barely feeds you and your family. Right. More jobs that will feed the community that you live in, and that's what they in this movie, this documentary. Wow, it was some powerful information in there. The young man that we just saw that was in the blue shirt, he actually is a construction company, and he got one of the largest contracts in the history of Detroit. That's where he's out of. And his company is called Peabody, and he's talking about what he had to do and how he had to prepare his business in order to be awarded that contract. Yeah. So he's talking about the economics of that and how that makes a change. And another thing they made a comment about is in our communities, there are no assets, right? Nobody owns the building that they're in, or any of the, or the land that they're in, or equipment that they have, or and them themselves don't have assets, right? But when we talk about land and the property that you're in, how can we say that we're going through gentrification when we don't own the buildings?
That's true. That is so true. I totally agree.
Right? You have nothing that you're working with if you don't own the building. They're not gentrifying on you. No. They're just moving you out.
That's right.
So we have a couple of those communities here, but some of the takeaways that I got from it was he was talking about the civil rights movement and what it really meant to us and the end results 50 years later. So when we look at that, we have the highest unemployment because whatever anybody else has, ours is doubled. Yeah. Right. High incarceration rate because we're victims. Yeah. If you own the money, you're a victim. Extreme poverty.
Highest homelessness.
No political power to speak of. No collective assets, and our schools are failing, and no wealth in our families to pass down. So that puts us in a real precarious situation.
That is true.
But at the same time, our nature. Now, did you work for someone in the early days?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I had some employers.
He's had some employers.
And then, being the type of individual I am, I just couldn't handle it. Okay. So I was always an entrepreneur. So I had to get out of there and head towards the entrepreneurial line.
Right, exactly. Yeah. For me, the reason I did that was because I just saw I could have stayed in the industry I was in, but the money is limited. Yeah. Because you're never going to get...
You can't get rich working for someone.
Right, exactly.
You just can't.
Yeah, you have to be on your own. Yeah. You have to have multiple streams. So your own business should be able to develop multiple streams of income. Now there is a report that I found online, the Kauffman Foundation, and it was a 2015 startup index that showed that the new business owners are 40% Asian and Latin and Latinos, Black and Latinos over the last decade or so. It has been us, but have been those minorities. But Blacks actually create more businesses than their white counterparts. So we would think if we had the entrepreneurial spirit, which a lot of our people do, that we'd be in a better position. But I know from my experiences that that's not the case, because you were asking just now what is behind it.
Yeah, that's true.
Because when we go in and we talk to people and we're trying to help them with their businesses, you get so much pushback.
That's true. In a lot of ways. The business owners themselves, they create a barrier. Their clients, their environment, their, whomever they're associated with, contract providers, lenders, whomever. You're always getting that pushback.
Yeah, you're always getting pushback, even though they know they're not running their businesses.
Right.
And for me, and I guess for same too, because we go to meetings and you see other ethnicities getting opportunities, and you're going like, man.
What about me?
And the equation is simple.
Yeah.
Just put your business in compliance.
That's it. That's it.
And there are people out there that will help you do that.
Start building partnerships and all of that.
Mm-hmm. And what we talked about earlier was the relationship building that will definitely change your economics. But we and I know all the CBOs, the community-based organizations, we all have workshops and trainings, and you do trainings for Edison and everybody else. Right. And so when you're coming out of your workshops, who are the ones that you know are more than likely going to take the information that you provided for them and actually activate it?
In terms of ethnicity, I would say Asians, Caucasian, then Latinos, and then African Americans last.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
That's usually how it is.
Wow.
Which is a shame.
Yeah.
It's a shame.
Right, exactly. It's with, and especially now. Wow, you were talking about Las Vegas just a few minutes ago, and the opportunities that's coming there, and we have just as many.
Right.
With the growth of the stadiums and soccer fields and all the other things that's been built in this community. Yeah. I mean, in our communities, I don't know what we should do and how we should go about it.
I think forming coalitions, and people who are really serious about moving this country and the community forward. That's the first step. You got to form coalitions. Then you establish strategic partnerships. You see what I mean? Then once you establish those, you want to establish strategic partnership with what we call influencers. So even though you're establishing a strategic partnership, if this person is not an influencer, it's not going to help you.
Right.
You got a partnership, but who do they know? Who are they going to talk to on your behalf? So you want to get someone who can speak on your behalf, someone who can say, hey, you really want to talk to Gilbert because Gilbert is a certain way and he'll do this for you. The person is going to come and say, oh, I hear, you're the person to talk to. How can we talk? How can we discuss?
Right.
This is what I want. So that to me is a good approach to making that transition into where you need to be.
Right. Yeah, exactly. I think because if you don't know who the movers and shakers are, the people that's going to make the decisions, you got to be able to get to the people, and that's all part of your networking, and you keep layering it. And, when you and I first started in business, we didn't have a LinkedIn.
Nope.
So now, really, with LinkedIn, it just offers it connects you. I mean, I have people that have reached out to me from back east. I just spoke to a guy that has a company's called National Capital out of New York. They're a wholesale lender, and he saw my profile and said that I think that there's some synergy. Can we talk? So I talked to him on Monday, and so we're gonna have some more conversation. I'm gonna refer him to some people. I'm gonna get him on the show.
Yeah,
and see if we can at least get some sponsorship for advertisement from them.
Right.
But that is how it happens, just on LinkedIn.
That's right. And sometimes when you least expect it, certain sources that you don't even consider, you don't even think it's a good opportunity, you'd be surprised.
Right, exactly.
You'd be surprised if most of your revenues didn't come from that one source.
And it's interesting that, and I've seen this, and you probably have too, because I'm sure that's how some of your contracts come about, is that people are watching you and you don't even know you're being watched, right?
Oh, yeah.
And then all of a sudden you get a phone call and they're like, yeah, I would like you doing, like, how do you know about me?
Yeah.
But people are observing what you're doing and how you're doing it, and when you're doing it in the right way and offering and providing the right services, they will come after you.
Right.
And if we can just get our businesses to recognize that if you're doing top level, so we all got to raise our game, right? You got to have your customer service has got to be in place. You got to train your employees. And if you are having a problem with employees, there are some organizations, the South Bay Workforce, they actually will do the training of your employees.
Wow.
And even LACO Los Angeles Office of Education.
Yeah.
They will come to your offices and train your staff for you.
Tell me about that, Crystal, that program that they have.
So the one component is what I'm doing at Mount SAC. We're training individuals that are on the social services. So they got the people, they got the manpower, and then we train them so that they can get a decent, learn a skill and then get a decent wage. But even after that, there's a program that's through the county and through the government where they will pay you the employer, for the apprenticeship training that you can provide for their recipients, right? So they're paying you, paying their salaries plus workers' comp, and workers' comp is not cheap.
Right.
So they're paying that, and then for 3 months, and then you're training, they're adding their training to the component, the soft skills, the making sure that they get to work on time and they have work ethics. And then after you decide to hire them, then they will come in and they will still give you another incentive of $500 or $600 for the next 3 months. And so you've gone through a 6-month period of them helping you. So there's no excuses for people.
Right.
And if you don't like the people, if it's not, they don't work or fit within they just call them and they'll send somebody else out.
That's beautiful. And I think that's a new workforce now. That's how it's going to be, where employers connect with a different resource, and that resource staff your project, staff your organization.
Yeah.
They take the liability. You don't have to deal with it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then, but at the same time, creating an apprenticeship program.
Yeah.
I met a young man. He was a referral, actually. He actually is doing the right thing. He's just opened up a business in Leimert Park. It's called Ride on Bike. It's a co-op. And he wants to teach young people how to do bike repair.
Right.
And build a bike and do bike repair. And so I was telling him about these programs, and I also was telling him about the governmental, because there's a governmental apprentice program, and that he should send him some information so that he can sign up for that, and then that can get his program going. A really smart young man. This is his second business. His first business, he said he had a martial arts studio for about 10 years. He didn't really have licenses or anything, and this is his second business. And so he was saying that he would like to, he needed some guidance. So that was the guidance I was telling him. And he wanted to do that social enterprise part of his business with young people.
Right.
And then set up bike clubs and other organizations up underneath his business. And so he wants I'm going to train him on how to use QuickBooks.
So it's pretty ambitious.
Very ambitious, yeah. And very actually has done a lot of things. He already has a vendor relationship with Metro. So we're going to get him so he can get in the class that we want to do for getting him certified.
Okay.
So this business has been a year he's been in, but he already has a relationship with Edison, and he's trying to get a relationship with one of the schools that has a bike program.
Now, did you want to talk a little bit about our program that we're putting together? I think that will help a little bit too.
Yeah. So we're selecting, and I guess when do we decide we're going to do this?
All right. Well, I'm thinking that maybe June, let's see, because on the 29th, I got to be somewhere on the 29th. Got to be somewhere. June.
You're popular. You're a popular man.
They just told me today, I think, Friday's never a good day for a workshop.
No, I think if we can do it.
June 28th.
June 28th?
Yeah.
That'd be our orientation?
Yeah.
Okay. So we already have some businesses in mind. We're going to bring businesses in that we feel are ready for to become certified business owners. And we're going to, utilizing Gilbert's expertise over here, help you with the application process, understanding what it means to be a certified business, and take you through that process. It's like a mastermind group. So in that mastermind group, you'll get your certifications. He'll give you the training. Then then we will talk to you about networking and help you with your skill set there.
There'll be 5 classes that we'll be offering, 5 different classes.
Okay.
But some classes are going to piggyback on each other.
Okay.
Right.
And then so at the end of the class, what's our end goal? Will they be certified or close?
They're definitely going to be certified. We're going to work on helping them to obtain a certification. They're going to get their business infrastructure set up.
Okay.
They're going to get contract readiness training and capability statement. We're definitely going to do that. And there's one other thing that I was thinking about. I don't remember.
So how is this going to benefit them?
Well, part of what we want to do is to reach out to strategic partners like contract providers, trade associations, some of the CBOs, and partner with them that way.
Okay.
So by us partnering, and then we bring in these firms over a period of time, we're going to be interfacing with them from time to time. And then once these guys are done with this, then we match them up with opportunities with these contract providers. And we want to have those contract providers as sponsors, so at least they have a vested interest.
Okay.
So, we're putting money in here, but at the same time, I want to be at these meetings so I can see what's going on, or I want to hear what plans you have, that type of thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. And then will we be helping them bridge relationships or introductions?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. We're going to do introductions with them to contract providers, lenders, and even other primes that they can partner with as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
As a starting in that plan. I think, and you can intercede here, is that becoming a certified business really is a game changer because of the value of the contracts that you can actually apply for, and your regular small business owners won't have that opportunity.
Right.
Right?
That's true.
I mean, for you to put for a small business to go up and submit a bid for, say, like for the stadium in Inglewood.
Right.
Even if the set-asides weren't there,
right,
you more than likely would be outbidded by just by virtually that the big companies have opportunity, have resources that you don't have.
Right.
And your business wouldn't be able to survive without. You would have the resources, actually.
That's true. That's
Yeah.
true. So I think teaming up that way will be a great advantage to the small business owners.
Yeah, I think so. I think it changes it. I think, all businesses start small. Everybody has started small.
Yeah.
Facebook, everybody started small. But it's what happens between when they were small and how they got to where they are now. I think that's the missing link for a lot of our small business owners, especially in the African American community.
Right.
How exactly do you get to be a big company? I mean, what are the steps to that?
Well, I call it dynamic small business. In order to be a dynamic small business, one of the things you want to do is you want to make sure you have the capability statement, make sure that your business ready, make sure your contract ready, and lender ready. So what that means is having all those key documents ready and available. So if on demand you ask for those things, you can do it. For example, you've seen this pretty contract thing that I had earlier. Now, if a business wants to reach out to a contract provider or a client or one of us to try to obtain opportunities, they need to go through this process. They need to go through this training process where they're actually ready. They understand their business. They understand what contract providers are looking for and can give it to them. They're always in the ready mode. That's what we want. We want to build ready businesses. So not only are we going to do the capability statement certification, the best practice and infrastructure and contract readiness, but we're also doing the cash flow piece. We're doing cash flow management. That's where you come in, Crystal, where you're going to help them with the accounting. You're going to help them with their I mean, these are terms from way back in the day that many of us don't use anymore. Ledger,
But and it's so funny you said that, because I was telling my students that the other day. I said, remember back in the day when you saw old movies, especially the cowboy movies, and the guy had the visor on, right, and the little bitty wire glasses, and he had his sleeve protector.
That was the
accountant, right? And that was the ledgers, and that's what they operated from, the ledgers of.
And they used to use journals and ledgers. Then they do the trial balance.
right. Everything was done manually, no computer. And so now that's when bookkeeping accounting was hard.
Exactly.
Right. Now you got a software that's all calculating in the back. And all you got to do is just plug your information in.
And it does that one-sided accounting.
Exactly.
You don't have to do trial balance. When you debit some money, you got to credit it somewhere.
Right.
But here you debit it, that's it.
That's it. It's like the magical, and I tell my students that the magical people, the accountants, the bookkeepers, the financial people are behind the scenes, behind the QuickBooks, doing all the debits and the credits and everything to produce that balance
all
sheet.
of those are things that we want to do in these workshops, Crystal, for these small businesses. And we want to make it fun. We want them to see that it's fun. It's not as boring and mundane as they think it is.
Right.
Because you're putting some numbers together, calculate. We're going to give them word problems, say, hey, if you're getting a contract and you got to give 25% of the contract to this subcontractor and 10% to this other subcontractor, you got liquidated damages that cost this for X number of days, how much are you going to really take home on the contract? And how are you going to enter that information in your bookkeeping system?
Right.
So those are things that we're going to get them to start looking at and start feeling good about doing it.
Yeah.
Because even though they're going to hire somebody, they still want to understand what that person is doing for them.
Yeah, but right, exactly. And you yourself, I told my students that, one, more than likely the CEO of the company doesn't know how to do any of the bookkeeping. So you got to come together with the with the report so that they get it and understand. They understand their numbers. But for me, I guess because I like numbers and you like numbers as well, I like to be able to project out and see what I need to do, or where I've been, and then how has my marketing or my networking endeavors really worked? Because that's the only way you know if you're marketing to the right people, because are you actually getting the business? Or if you're going to every networking event out there, how can you measure whether it's working for you?
Right.
If you're not closing any deals, right? Because you're putting all this money and going and doing and driving and wearing yourself ragged, but is it working? Are you bringing in more customers?
Right.
I can measure that, because I can see that, and that's what I teach my business owners is here's where you were last year. And here's where you are this year. And then we can analyze the numbers. I have a client, we analyze her stuff once a month. But when we did our annual review, I did a review, a comparison to the previous year, right? And so she went, wow, my numbers are down. I said, yeah, they are. I said, let's talk about that. And so she goes, well, wait a minute. I said, okay, tell me because I knew what the strategy was, because we had talked about it through the year. And I said, so here's what you've been doing. You decided mid-year that you no longer wanted just a small business.
Right.
Because that's much more work and much more time. And you end up spending more money. And you wanted to go after bigger contracts. Right. So you had to position yourself in order for that to happen, right? And then next year, we should see a direct result of that decision that she made.
That's definitely a must. Has to be.
Right.
Has to be. If you're going to grow, that's something that you have to do.
Yeah, you have to do that.
Yeah.
But, a lot of our business is just kind of, again, it's that default stuff. We just go at it day by day, month by month.
Right.
And we never go back to check. So when we come back from a break, we'll talk about why it's so important to be able to revisit your numbers.
Okay.
And see where you're coming from.
Definitely.
Meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.
So we're back on the Business Zone with
Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan, the small business paramedic. We're going over some strategies here, how we can help small businesses be more efficient, be more effective in their communities, and also to sustain themselves as an effective and dynamic small business. So, Crystal, you got some tips for us?
Well, one is when we kind of talked about using your numbers and your financial statements in order to track how well your marketing efforts are going, and also gauging. I think the other importance is gauging whether or not the business you're doing is really bringing in the revenue that you thought that it was. Because if you didn't project it out, then you had no idea that it was going to come in. But, a lot of times when someone, an opportunity comes to us, we're like, oh, we're going to make a lot of money. And then you get into it. And even small clients we get, we're like, okay, I can see this. And you project it out and you give them a cost. And then when you really get into the work of it, it's like, oh, this is not working out because I'm putting more hours, more time, more energy. They're difficult. And then at the end of the day, you've lost money.
Yeah. That happens so frequently. And it's amazing, Crystal, that when we talk about marketing and measuring and increasing revenues, we really don't, as small businesses, we really don't check things out thoroughly. One of the things that we can look at when we're doing marketing, if say our sales last year were $250,000 and we're increasing our marketing efforts this year.
Right.
The first thing we want to have an idea is, by what percent do we want to increase sales this year? And in the marketing effort that we're putting in, how much do we think that can increase sales? Then we got to build a strategy around that. So let's say, for example, $250,000 is what we made last year. This year we want to make, say, $300,000 or $350,000.
Right.
So we may have 2 employees last year helping us out, doing a certain strategy. Now this year you can either increase that or increase the strategies that you use to go out and market the business or trying to increase sales.
Right.
But you cannot use the same strategy or the same methodology and expect to increase your sales when you got a certain results from it last year.
Right.
And maybe that was the maximum you could have gotten out of that strategy. You got to try a new one.
You got to try a new one.
Yeah.
And some of them don't even have that. They just kind of throw some darts up on a wall, and then wherever it sticks,
we're going to increase sales.
Yeah. Right, and you're going to, but it's not based on anything.
Yeah, if we made 50 calls last year, and that 50 call generated $250,000, we want to increase sales by say another 50,000 or more. We got to make more than 50 calls this year.
Right.
We got to try to double that effort and try to go out and meet with clients. And sell them stuff and present stuff to them in such a way, follow up with them in order to increase that number. We got to move that needle.
You have to move the needle. And so when you're talking and coaching your clients, do you recommend that they take a 6 months in to the year, kind of do a benchmark to measure where they're going, and then start projecting out for the latter part of the 6 months?
Exactly.
Okay.
They have to. Because if they don't do that, they probably don't know where they're going or how to measure.
Right.
So, and then once they decide to measure, then they may not get the result that they anticipate.
Right.
So they have to do that. And, I would say measure as you go along. When it comes to marketing, marketing is not an immediate return, a rate of return thing. You don't market today and next week you're going to see all this great returns. It takes a period of time.
Right.
Especially if you're doing internet marketing. You're doing Google AdWords, or you're doing all of these SEO and all of these different types of methodologies. It takes a little time. When people never heard of you before and you're flooding the market with commercials or advertisements, it takes them a while. Just remember this, that it takes a person at least 7 times to hear something before they respond to it. Mm-hmm. So you put out an ad right now, people probably not going to pay attention to it. You put it out again, they're not going to pay attention until it starts beating them over the head, and they say, you know what, I've heard this thing about 7 times now. Let me check it out and see what it's about.
Exactly. And then you gotta gauge whether or not, especially if you're going to use social media. So you gotta gauge what the input, the comments are. Mm-hmm. So you might have to make some tweaks that because it may not be, it's not cut and dry.
Right.
I mean, and there's no formula. Some ads will reach certain people and some won't.
Right.
In fact, this week I had a coaching session with a client, and she and her husband had a jewelry store in the mall, and when we look at what's going on in the retail industry today, we see big box stores that are going out of business at a rapid rate. I think they're looking at some 32,000 stores will close down locations of their stores. Well, there's a reason why that's happening, and so I was telling her, because she was feeling all bad about it. It's like, you are making the same decision that Sears is making, Macy's is making, Penny's, Radio Shack, Best Buys, Whole Foods.
Yeah.
I mean, in certain environments, when you put them there, or when they put those stores there, they probably had a phenomenal clientele. But since Amazon has made life simple, easy for the on-demand, I don't want to leave my house. People don't even want to leave their house to go grocery shopping anymore.
Yeah.
And so there's a on-demand program, a business out there called Instacart, that you call them and they'll do all your shopping for you. You never have to set foot in the supermarket. And now Amazon has that. I think Uber. Yeah. I think I saw that the other day with Uber. Hulu is getting in the game of delivering food to you. So you have to evaluate, and you have to evaluate before the trends start to change. So now you and I keep ourselves, you're pretty knowledgeable. We go to conferences and we get literature and information and newsletters that keep us in the know, but most small businesses don't.
Yeah.
And so they see it on the news, but they never. And I think this is the other area that we need to work with our small businesses is because it's happening on the news doesn't mean that it doesn't affect you, because it's not in your backyard, in your neighborhood, or in your city. But if something comes on the news and you see Sears is closing stores, Macy's is going discount, JC Penney's and any other stores, and you go, wow, I have a retail store.
Yeah.
Then you got to go, well, how's that going to affect me, right?
You want to know why.
So you got to go do your research on why are the big box stores closing. Okay, Amazon is making it so easy for people to shop online. Now, I have a brick and mortar. Do I keep my brick and mortar when people who have much more extensive budgets than I have to keep their doors open?
Yeah.
Am I going to keep my doors open?
Right,
or am I going to see maybe online is a good platform for me? Right?
Yep, that's true. I totally agree. Now, I see you have a caption here, Krista, about being a marketer. Many small businesses, they have businesses and they say they market, but they really don't understand how to market.
Yeah.
So, and that's one of the problems that we're looking at here on our topic today, which talks about how the African American entrepreneur can power the economy. There's a lot of ways to it. It's not one way. It's a lot of ways to it. Marketing is key. We can market in a lot of ways to our community, to people in our circle, people in our family. So we got to come up with neat strategies how we can do that.
And also knowing who your market is.
Exactly.
I think that's the first level, and I think a lot of our small businesses, we think, one, especially if they didn't go to, if they weren't in a class, they didn't create a business plan that somebody helped them with, I don't think they understand that the marketing component is the first step is to identify who you're trying to sell your products to.
And if we're selling pencils, first thing we want to know is who buys pencils?
Right.
Why do they buy pencils?
Right.
At what point do they buy pencils? Do they have a certain time when they buy a small amount of pencils, another time when they buy a large amount of pencils?
Right.
You see what I mean? So those are numbers. Business is about collecting data, numbers, statistics, and using those numbers to your advantage to make it work for you. Just like with Google. Google have the analytic things. It's because they want to collect number and data.
Right.
And then those numbers they use to their advantage.
Exactly.
So that's what we've got to do as a small business as well, if we want to be a powerhouse in our economy.
And in marketing, they use what the 4 Ps. You know what the 4 Ps are. So you're identifying your product or your service, right? And then placement of that, and the promotion and price, right? So all of those are the important makeup of your marketing plan.
Yeah.
But first one is, who is your target market?
Yes.
And then how do they think?
Yeah.
I mean, marketing to me as a female, a product is going to be different than marketing to you as a male. Now, marketing to me as a business person is probably going to be the same type of marketing that you and I both are going to respond to. But if you're marketing a product that's specifically for me, the female, now you could market to me, and then there's a twist on that, because you could market to me as the spouse or the partner of a male, and I could buy for that. But even then, it's still going to be a different marketing strategy, right? Because you got to reach my sensitivities. You got to talk to me in a manner that I'm going to go, yeah, I got it.
I got to know
that
what
7
your pain
times,
points
right?
are.
Right, exactly. Our pain points, and for me to respond. So I'm not going to devise the same marketing plan for you.
Right.
that you're going to make, because I don't, you and
Exactly.
I, there's on a fundamental level, you and I don't think the same just because of our gender.
That's correct.
But as business people, yes.
Yes.
So you got to be able to, you almost have to put yourself in the shoes of the people that you're going to sell. Why would you buy? And I get this one all the time from when I've done business classes, and I'm sure you get that as well, especially when we talk about the pricing. Well, I don't know if the people will afford that. It's like getting into, how do you know what they're going to afford? You're not in their pocketbook, and then you don't know, because if it's a pain, trust me, you will find a way.
If it's a pain, they'll find a way to pay for it. Because they want to solve that pain.
They want to solve that pain.
And that's another thing that, another point that comes up onto that is conducting your feasibility study.
Right, exactly.
How feasible is the item you're selling or the service you're selling to these customers? Is it feasible that they'll buy it no matter what? Is it feasible that they'll buy just because?
Right.
Is it feasible that they'll buy just because they know they have to?
Right.
You see what I mean?
Yes, exactly.
So once we can answer those things, then it's really going to help our marketing efforts.
And I think all business owners should, whatever you're selling, I think you should ask yourself a series of questions with your services. So when I look at and I've had to change how I do my accounting. At first, I was marketing to small business owners and for QuickBooks training because I knew they needed it. But they didn't know they needed it.
No.
So no matter how much marketing, how many classes that I scheduled, they weren't getting it.
No.
And so I had to sit back and go, okay, that method is not working. Especially after I start canceling classes. Right. So then I thought, you know what? Maybe a better approach is for me to market to individuals that have something that requires accounting. So then I start going to the tax preparers. Then I start going to the organizations that lend money, advisors, other coaches that's not their expertise.
Right.
I get a better result from that. And they already can tell them up front the type of work I do. They can recommend me as a referral. So just on the mere fact that it's a referral gives it a lot more power than me coming to them and saying, hey, I do so-and-so and so-and-so. I'd like to do this. No, so-and-so referred you. Oh, you must be good.
Oh, yeah. And that's one of those psychological things that really get customers and certain entities to respond.
Right.
You've got the ambassador, I call it the ambassador strategy, where you have someone outside of you or your organization going to these folks and say, hey, did you hear about this product or service? These guys are great. These guys are phenomenal.
Right.
You see, they listen.
They listen because somebody else is telling them to go do it. Right, exactly. So that's really what you want to do. You want to market and find your ambassadors that can help you sell your product or your services. One, they probably know your customer pretty well if it's part of their customer base anyway, and have them refer. And once that happens, then you can acquire that word of mouth, and that's really what you want, the word of mouth business, because it's easier to
low-hanging fruit.
Low-hanging fruit, man. That's a good thing.
Oh, yes.
And so that's on your product. Now, on your placement, where do they go to find your services?
Well, placement, it could be, you can identify certain channels that you want to have your product or service available to. It could be online. It could be, you could set up a kiosk somewhere where you make that available. You can go to them. You can take it to them. You can provide workshops where you sell the service and products there at the workshops as well. You can have what they call an affiliate program where someone refer you to the service, and then you either get a discount for that or some kind of residual for it. So there's a variety of different ways that you can get the product placed so that they can identify it, or you can do it through commercials. You could do it through YouTube. A lot of people are doing videos on YouTube right now. So if you can do a video that goes viral,
Oh, yeah.
That's amazing. You can get a lot of mileage out of that kind of placement.
You really, really can. And these are the things, when you and I first started our business, we didn't have it like that, right?
No.
I mean, we had to go, I think I went to
old school.
a networking event like weekly.
Yeah.
You had to do them weekly, right? Because people had no other way, especially early, like 90s, late 90s and early 2000s, where not everyone had a computer at their fingertips. Yeah. So you had to do old school. You had to do flyers and postcards and mailers, and which was costly. Now it's just a matter of Facebook, but you do have to have quality flyers and quality pictures that you're using, but you have to be consistent. You have to be consistently doing marketing every day, every week, couple times a day, because like you said, it takes people at least seven times for them to
even respond to your message.
Right.
So if you get it out there and you get it in their ears, and I always liken that type of marketing to a song that you hate.
Right.
when you hear a certain song that you hate, and you hear it so many times, then you find yourself singing that song.
Oh, I thought I hated that song, but man, I like that song. What do you think about that song, right?
Exactly. You know, there's this one song on the radio that I hear all the time. I see it on the TV all the time. It's called, it says, checky, 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 checky.
Oh,
checky.
yeah.
I'm going, come on, this is such a stupid song. But I find myself singing it sometimes. I'm going, check it. I'm going, what am I doing?
Right. But because then it's that repetitive jingle, right? And so you got to find that niche. It's like in a song.
Yes.
So when you were singing, there were certain loops that you guys used, right?
Yeah.
And even now, when you think of music, you're not performing music, but you listen to a certain loop, right?
Exactly. And that's why when you're trying to sell your product and service, it's the same thing. You want to make sure that it's catchy. Whatever phrase you're using or how you present it, you want to make sure that it's so catchy that people will remember it. They'll pass it on to somebody else. And, you don't want to make the delivery so difficult so they don't understand it anymore. So, So be a good marketer in the community. It really helps as an African-American entrepreneur or any small business entrepreneur within the community, build that power in that community.
And one of the things this article mentioned, and I think it was a study done by Kaufman, was that that even though we create more businesses, we're very creative, and we create more businesses, that generally it's about the resources. So let's talk about that. So I do get that at a certain level, the business has to have some influxion of money, especially if we want to hire people. But I think there are some things that you can do yourself to acquire bigger contracts. So one of the things we talked about being a subcontractor, that changes how much money comes in. You don't really, you're just going in and performing a service.
It changes your level of responsibility as well.
But you don't have to go and have a whole influx of money to make that happen.
No.
Right?
Not at all.
So I think thinking and doing business smarter. Really, if we think out the process.
Yes.
And marketing is a key part of that process, making sure that it's positioned and the promotion. And just like you and I work together as partners, that means I'm promoting your business every time I go out. And you're promoting mine every time I go out. So now you're an ambassador. We're an ambassador of each other. Yeah. So doing business with other people, you create an ambassadorship.
That's right. And that's going to help to create credibility and also marketability for your product or your service.
Right, exactly.
So those things are key things that we always want to put out there. And as a subcontractor, I was thinking about this. As a subcontractor doing business, I often tell my clients that you may be accustomed to doing business on a transactional level, where you do business with this client today, you do it with another client tomorrow and another client, but you're not sure if they're going to come back to you the next day or the next week.
Right.
Well, if you can try to do it on a contractual level, then you can ensure some level of stability within your revenues coming in for at least 12 months.
At least 12 months,
at
right,
least
exactly.
12 months. And that's why, you have people who rent house or lease houses or lease office space, because they have that income, that continuous income coming in for a certain period of time.
Right.
As opposed to someone just say, hey, I'm going to rent today, and then that's it. And then tomorrow you may not know if you have someone to come in and rent.
Right, exactly. So you want a commitment.
Right.
So as you're basing all of your financial decisions or your business decisions on being committed for at least a year,
there you go.
I have this income coming in.
There you go.
Now let me ask this question, because I know this is probably some of the issues when we're doing contracts. When would you recommend, if a business has a contract and they know that it's got an expiration date in 12 months, when do you recommend they start looking? Should that be ongoing process of progress?
If the contract is a 1-year contract, the day you get that contract, you want to start looking for other contracts.
Okay.
Because when you have a contract, anything can go wrong.
Right.
Anything can go wrong. The contract provider could call you in one day and say, you know what, this is not working out anymore. Bye. Sorry.
Right.
And then you're out.
Right.
So you want to always be looking at opportunities. You always want to shore up. Like we say, in sports, you got to have someone on the bench.
Right.
You got to have that bench filled with capable people.
Right.
So should an opportunity come up, those people can just jump in and perform. It's the same thing with you as a business owner. If you have a 1-year contract, you want to keep looking. If you have a 3-year contract, then you want to start performing and nurturing that contract so you can get a renewal out of it. But at the same time, you still want to look at other opportunities.
Right.
Because by you looking at other opportunities, it's not that you're going to limit your ability to perform or restrict your capacity. But what it's doing is it's getting that bench ready. And you're going to also have talent ready for you to team up with you.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's an ongoing process. Never stop. Never stop.
Right. And because I've heard some people that have had contracts, 3-4 year contracts, and then they kind of worked through the contract, and then the contract ended, and they were starting the process then.
Yeah. No, that's bad planning. See, that's part of why we say business readiness and contract readiness always got to be ready. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready.
Right, exactly.
And that's what many of these businesses need to do. So we're trying to, that wake-up call, that 7 o'clock wake-up call that we're talking about today, this is part of that process.
Right.
Being ready.
And just doing, because before anybody can give us any money, we have to be making sure that our house is in order. And to put our house in order, that means, as you're saying, my business is business ready.
Yes.
So that means everything, my books are in order.
Yes. My operations
are in order.
Your back office.
Right, at back office, I have the required staff that I need. Now, I may need to be growing, but I at least know I'm ready to know, okay, this is what I need to do to be able to hire that new person, to identify what that new person is going to be their job.
Yes.
And then being contract ready, meaning, one, you got to make sure the financials are all in place. You know that financially you can execute that contract.
Yes.
And come out whole on the other side, right?
Come out whole.
Right.
Not only can you do it financially, but you also have the resource to do it. You have staffing, you have the talent that you need, and you have the capacity to do it. So if, let's say, you don't have the funding to do it, then you have a line of credit somewhere just sitting there. So should you take on this project, then you can fund it for a little while until you get paid.
Right, and then that's what we mean by being loan ready.
Yes,
is making sure everything is in place. You're watching your ratios. You're watching your margins. You know what your margins are. You're watching your credit, and you're Dun and Bradstreet. Your relationship with your vendors. So when it comes time for you to, and you know what your assets are. So when you go to get that loan, because it could be kicked out, but you got to be able to say, wait a minute, let me fight for it.
Yeah, you got to explain. Okay, so I see there's a dip in your financial activities over the last 30 days. What's going on here? Well, that's easy. I could tell you. An emergency came up where I had to go into the company. I had to take out $50,000 to deal with this situation right here. However, we've handled it. So now our ratios went back up. Because they may look at the report that was before and they see where the ratio is low. They're going to ask you, hey, why is this ratio low? Well, here's a reason why that happened. Now, if you look at our ratios now, you can see that we're way above where the required amount is supposed to be. And we've augmented this. We put some lessons learned in place. So now we've got these action plans that's really going to help us to move forward.
Right.
So while you can explain that and you can say, hey, our gross profit margin was this over the last 3 months. Now we're moving in a steadily progressive manner. And this is great for us. This is great for you. And part of that is, we had to take on an additional project over here to sustain this. But now we're solvent.
Right. So you have an explanation.
You got to be able to explain.
But if you're not business ready. You don't have that. I mean, because your business can be affected, and I've seen this with my clients. If they lose an employee, and that employee had a key job. Now, it's going to take you a minute to, one, find the new talent, and two, get them trained,
get them acclimated,
and working to the level that the client left. Now, they may have left. It was sudden. They got your employee. Say it's a female. She went out on maternity leave and said, you know what? I don't think I want to come back. So you've had a temp in place, or you've not had anybody in place, thinking, okay, well, she'll be back in 12 weeks. I can hang on. But 12 weeks comes and she's like, I'm not coming back. But even then, you haven't identified that somebody else in the organization should be learning cross education of what that one person was doing. Now, that person may have a talent or charisma that made them excel in that, but at least a functional body that understands the fundamentals of what you need, right? Because that can create a pull and change your financial status for that particular month, right?
Tremendously.
Yeah.
Yes. We always want to be on the ready.
You're always on the ready. So, it's important. So when we talk about our businesses, when we talk about steps that we can do, not just Gilbert and I, but even you in your own business, but we can't be complacent.
No, not at all.
Yeah,
not at all.
You have to be constantly thinking of new ways to innovate your business, new ways that you can disrupt the industry with your business. If you have products that you've designed, making sure, always going back and reevaluating that whatever the pain that it was solving, now 5 years later, does it still solve that pain? Do you need to go back in and tweak it, or is its shelf life gone?
And what additional pain can you try to solve for these customers to expand your base, to expand your range?
Right, exactly. And then our businesses are big businesses that been in for a long time, and they had a business model that was in place in the 1800s, and they still are hanging on.
That's why many of them are struggling right now, because there's now disrupt. And I'm going to give you an example of one of those old technology business. The file cabinet, the company that manufactures file cabinets, right? These guys have been around for so many years, and that's what they do. They create file cabinets. They're going, okay, this is going to be great.
Right.
Now, we got a system like Small Biz Pro that comes along, which is a disruptive technology, which is somewhat of an electronic file cabinet. It doesn't do it just like we did the old way.
Right.
And this is an electronic file cabinet and more.
Right, exactly.
Because not only do we offer storage and document upload, but now we also offer procurement opportunities. You can find bids. We also offer the market research, where you can conduct market research and get some fresh market data on your industry and your competitors.
Right.
So now you got all of this at your fingertips.
Right, and so that and even so with that, QuickBooks, it has the capacity now, and I've incorporated this into my training, is that when you have a customer, and let's say construction, and all of their estimates and their bids and their orders and your notes, you can upload that into QuickBooks. So if the file gets lost, then the person in accounting says, "Oh, wait a minute, here's some notes," or they can keep notes to help the sales department and help the construction person that's doing that. Right. But everything, it has a place where you can add their documents. All their HR documents are in. It's password protected, and they serious about their password, so you really can't get into it. So the file cabinet. And remember a couple of years ago they wanted to go paperless? You could easily go paperless if you chose to.
That's what I'm talking about.
Right.
So that's one of those old technologies where these guys sit in the marketplace and go, we've been on the market for so many years. We've been making millions of dollars.
Everybody will always want a file cabinet.
Everybody's going to want a file cabinet. We're okay. Not really.
Right, not really. Not when people are coming along with electronic device.
When you got
Google Drive, Drop, your external hard drive. That's what is disrupting So what you want to do is become a disruptor yourself.
You got to be a disruptor. You got to be.
Yeah.
Because that's when you're disruptive, then you're telling the customers and clients in the marketplace that there are new ways of doing things, and you're expanding their mind. You're expanding the way they look at things.
Right.
And the pricing that you're offering might be a little bit more competitive and affordable to them as well. So that's what the customers want. When you have more players in the market, the customers are happy because pricing falls in their favor.
Right, exactly.
When you have less players, then they can jack up the price and there's nothing you can do.
Right.
Just like the cable companies. Right?
Yeah, right, exactly. And they're in danger now because, the Amazons, the YouTubes, the Hulus. Yeah. Look at Amazon and Hulu, and they're all got original they got original materials, original movies that has been created by them. Yes. So look at the DVD. Who the heck even goes to get a DVD?
Nobody does that anymore. Nobody.
Right. The red box is out there, but it's not like it used to be. There's no video. If it is, it's a very small mom and pop, and they got a very specific and obviously, and this is funny because sometimes you go by businesses and you go, how are they staying in business, right? And how long? And I guess that's another question. Yeah. How long do you stay like that?
Well, in business, you have what they call a life cycle. And that life cycle, when it starts out, it starts at a lower level because there's an entry market approach because nobody really knows you. Then with massive amount of marketing and exposure and doing ambassadorship and all of that, you start climbing in prominence, commercials and all of that. And then it's helping to increase your sales. Then you get to a certain point. At some point, you're going to plateau,
right?
And you can't go any higher,
right?
You're cresting,
right?
So after you crest, then you start going down in a downward slope. And many businesses are smart enough to understand when they crested, to come up with a new technology to take over,
right?
Because at some point they're going to intersect. The new technology is going to meet the old technology, and it's going to intersect at some point,
right?
And if this catches it when it's barely descending, then it's a good thing for the entrepreneur or the business owner.
Right.
Now, with the phone companies, the cell phone companies, that's how you see them coming up with a different model of phone every year.
Right, or 6 months.
You see what I'm saying? That's how they do that because they recognize that if they don't come out with a new technology to stay constant and prominent in the marketplace, the competition is going to do that. Now, there was one phone company that didn't pay attention to the signs. and they're not really much around anymore.
The BlackBerry,
and
they've been trying to come back because it's funny that you said that because they actually could have kept their marketplace because they had a very dedicated and loyal client
customer base.
Customer base. That was the business owner
and the government.
Right? They loved the BlackBerry. I never figured out why, but they loved the BlackBerry.
Yeah.
But when the big, the iPhones and so forth, to eventually. They no, whatever it was, and I don't know. Did you ever have a BlackBerry? Because I never had one.
I had one.
So what was the attraction to that over all the other
Well, I think it was a little bit more secured than some of it, like the Androids and the iPhone. When it comes to viruses, it was difficult it was less apt to get viruses. Yeah, so those were some of the things about it. But then because they waited so long to come out with a newer model on the marketplace, then iPhone and the Androids, they just jump all over the marketplace. And, people are prone to new things.
Right, and new shiny.
Yeah,
we like new shiny stuff.
New shiny stuff. They want to try it out. Even if it's a dud, they still want to try it anyway. Yeah. And that's how they got dropped.
Yeah, and then it's so many iPhone users and then Androids. Samsung. Not all the Androids, but the Samsung ain't no joke because they spend even after. What happened last year with the Note. Yeah. Of course, they've gone back in. They, they got that perfected. So they came out with their S8, and now and I'm waiting for the Note to come back out, and it's supposed to be the best thing that's ever hit the market. But again, the iPhone 7 was. Yep. But again, you have people. And it's about your marketplace because there are those of us that are Android favorable and those that would not. I mean, Apple is what they're going to do. Now, for me, it's kind of, I don't like the proprietary stuff. Yeah. I don't like people telling me what I can't have and what that doesn't work for me. Yeah. So that's why I do an Android. Yeah. But there are people that love the iPhone and wouldn't have anything else.
Yep, that's true.
Yeah, so it's all about this. And even the way we coach, even the way I coach new businesses, we have our youth camp coming up, our biz camp. It's going to be July 10th to the 21st. Yes. So anyone that has any 14 to 18-year-olds, we're accepting the application deadline is April 31st to put in your application. This is a free camp. But
you mean August? Oh, wait.
No, July. It's going to be July 10th.
Oh, so May
July
31st?
10th to May 31st, is the deadline. You get your application in. Okay. So if you're interested, reach out to me at 323-447-7272, and I can make sure you get an application or email me at cmitchell544@gmail.com. But we're even going to do that camp different. So in the past, the kids have come in. We've let them choose a business that they wanted to start. We did all the training around that. Then at the end, they pitched that business, and that was their business, right? Well, this year we're doing something different, and I guess we're kind of doing the Shark Tank kind of approach. But we want the kids to solve a pain for our sponsor. So American Airlines is our sponsor.
I like
you
that.
Like that concept?
I like that.
So American's going to give us some pains that they have, and then we're going to pair the kids up or put them in groups of 2s or 4s because we want them to learn to work together and partner together. And they have to come up with a service or product that can be a business that can satisfy that pain that American Airlines has.
The reason I like that is if they come up with a sustainable solution, then those entities, those sponsors will be more likely to take them on as a subsidiary business or
Isn't that a great idea?
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, and then they will compete against the groups. They will compete for a prize. Right. One of the exciting things that we're going to do with them is they're going to go to American Airlines and we're going to spend a day with them and they're going to talk about it. They're going to go on a flight. They're going to have their lunch on a plane, and then some of them will even get to go into the traffic controller tunnel.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's good.
So they can see other opportunities. So our curriculum because we're all certified instructors, and Rhonda Santaford, who's my co-partner on this, she and I were going over the literature, and I went, this is not what, because I just went through certification last year. Yeah. This is not what we learned from Kenny. And so she goes, yeah, this is different, huh? So Kenny had reached out to me and said, okay, we want to work on the agenda together. I'm thinking, we don't need that. We've been doing this for years now. And then we learned, I think we need Kenny. So we're going to meet with him. He's actually going to be on the show next week because he has been doing the Nifty program, and he trains the teachers and certifies us to talk about.
Does it cost for the certification program?
Yeah, it does. That's where the money comes in. It's on the certification to become a certified teacher. But if you become a certified teacher, you can teach any Nifty program anywhere. Yeah, because it's the same education, the same curriculum. Right. So if one of the schools needed a certified teacher, I could actually go in and be that teacher.
I'd love to check it out.
Yeah,
I just got to find the time.
Yeah, right. It's actually you could, because it's a block. Yeah, they do it they do it in July, so you'd have to pre-prep for it, right? And it's a 4-day thing. Oh, okay. And downtown, I did it it was downtown LA at the where their offices are in the LA Chamber.
How much does it cost?
$2,500. But then you can go utilize that to train anywhere. Anywhere. It's an excellent program because it really gives you the resources and that you need, all these case scenarios, the
binders and everything.
Everything, yeah. Okay. So you could do that.
Do they also teach train-the-trainer programs there too?
Yeah, they have a train-the-trainer. So it's called Nifty U.
Oh, okay. Good.
Yeah, so if you're interested, you're not here next week though, right?
No, next week I'm in Vegas.
So when we'll utilize you. We'll have to put you on, bring you out to one of the classes to be a coach. Yeah. It's an hour or two. I'll send you a volunteer link and just because you would be very valuable to the kids.
That would be nice.
And so it's a good program. Actually, I really love the program. I think. In fact, I'm talking to some other people. I'm going to implement the program at our youth program, our tennis program. We're teaching the kids the history of tennis, but at the same time, we want to teach them the entrepreneurial side of tennis, the merchandising, the producting.
See, that's what we need to do in these communities right here.
That's the solutions, right? And if we start teaching our children how to be entrepreneurial, and I think an area, and maybe this is an area you and I can address because we get better reception anyway, is the millennials. These young kids are coming out of college. We could probably identify some funding and put them in, find some pains and disruptive type of industries and put them to work towards some sustainable energy businesses or some technology businesses. And I think we get a lot of pleasure out of that.
Oh, yeah.
And then you already developed them, right? We can develop them into those certified people. That's a game changer.
I like that. I like that approach tremendously.
Yeah. And then, you bring them to Robert and help them get funded. And now we're working something. We got a cooperative environment that's working.
I like that.
Yeah.
I like that a lot.
So we have almost come down to our 2 hours.
Yes.
Let's see. I got Gilbert is going to be teaching a class for recycling black dollars. So let me get the information. It is which one are you doing?
June 22nd.
June 22nd. It's going to be at the U.S. Bank building right there on Crenshaw and Slauson. Let me get the details. And he is going to teach you how to network, huh, Gilbert?
That's right. It's called relationship management.
Okay. And what is that going to entail?
Well, what it's going to cover is we're going to go over some strategies, how to build relationships with contract providers and also with your clients.
Okay.
And I have this unique system called KYP, Knowing Your Personnel.
Okay.
That I'm going to use as well.
Okay.
It's a personality profile system.
Okay.
Which I love using because it helps individuals and companies to learn so much about themselves and the people they work with.
Ah, okay.
So, people fall into 4 categories, and it's really neat how we see people and we talk to them daily, but we don't understand what makes them tick and why they make certain decisions.
Right.
So that class will help to bring out some of that and get people to understand.
Oh, that's going to be a fantastic class.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's why I'm saying if we can get 20, 25 people in there.
Yeah.
And I want to find out early because we have to put the packets together.
Okay. Well, we're going to really start marketing in the next couple of weeks. I already had some people when I talked to them at the Recycling Black Dollars meeting. They were really, because this is an area truly that is a void for people that don't know how to network.
I'll send you a summary overview of the class, so at least you have some
right. Then I can put like little pieces of it when I'm marketing out and write exactly. That'd be good because you do have to know who you're marketing. I had somebody recently come at me with all this aggression, and I don't do well when people market to me like that. Because I'm thinking, why are you pushing me?
They're doing that guerrilla marketing tactic.
So you can be guerrilla about it, but you got to be nice guerrilla. You can't be like mean bully. You know who guerrilla, right? Because I'm going to shut down. I ain't buying nothing from you.
That's right. I hear that.
So you want to come out. It is
June 22nd.
June 22nd, but there's a series, and it's called Create, Manage, and Build Business Relationships. And Recycling Black Dollars is presenting it. Our sponsor is...
Oh, is that the flyer?
Yeah, that's the flyer.
Right.
I'll send it over to you.
Yes.
Southern California Supplier Diversity and Development is the 2017 EDGE Program Workshop Curriculum. It's a free series of seminars. There are 4 of them. The next one is August 17th, and they're 9 a.m. to 12:30 in the afternoon. The next one is Networking and Building Business Relationships. August 24th at 9 a.m. is Relationship Management. And in September, we have the final one, and it's Managing Relationships in All Phases of Business. It's going to be held at U.S. Bank Community Room at 5760 Crenshaw Boulevard at Crenshaw and Slauson. Continental breakfast will be served and plenty of free parking. So you want to register. If you're interested, call Jackie B for information at 323-449-2099 or email myjackieb@yahoo.com. This is a series of workshops sponsored by Southern California Edison.
And bring lots of business cards.
Lots of business cards because we're all about because we're networking,
that's
right?
We're networking.
So that's what we want. So let's see anything else coming up. So I got the kids. So if you have a 14 to 18-year-old and they're an aspiring, budding entrepreneur, give us a call so you can get an application. We'd love to have them. That program is free. It is a 10-day biz camp, full day, 10-day biz camp, and they will learn so much, and they will be different children on the other side of it. Anything you have coming up, sir?
What's coming up? Next week, Thursday, I'll be in Las Vegas. I'll be doing my last class for this 8-class series with the Nevada Contractors Association. Very excited about it. We're going to be covering labor compliance, the prevailing wage, PLA, and a variety of different requirements for the contractor. As we know, many of these contractors are they're preparing themselves to start working on the stadium, the Raiders Stadium in Vegas. So,
are they excited?
Oh, they're very excited, and we're prepping them in such a way. This group that we're graduating, we're making sure that these guys actually get contracts. So,
wonderful.
Oh, yes. So we've already been talking to contract providers, and, we tell them these guys got to get contracts.
Oh, okay. So that's fantastic.
It's going to be an amazing, amazing thing. And so that's that workshop. On June 6th, I have another workshop, an EDGE workshop in Sacramento. Okay. And this is for the California Black Chambers of Commerce.
Okay.
And that one is pretty exciting. I'm going to fly up on the 5th, and then the 6th will be the workshop.
Okay.
Turn back around in Come back here.
You are a man in flight.
I'm telling you, it's unbelievable. So that's pretty much what I have going on, Crystal.
Okay. We got the holiday. Memorial Day weekend.
We need to send out a flyer for this the five class series that we're talking about.
Yeah, I'm gonna send that. I've actually did a blast this morning.
I'll send you some bullet items also.
Okay, and then I'll
do that.
Yeah, I can add that. So I sent out a blast. I'm gonna send this over to you right now.
Yes.
Happy Memorial Day weekend to everyone. Be safe. Have great food. It's we're honoring all our military personnel, soldiers, and everybody.
Yep.
So we want to pay homage to them for protecting the country.
And we also want to recommend and encourage more veterans to start their own business, become entrepreneurs, because there's a veteran certifications for you that you can obtain, a lot of contract opportunities. We provide guidance to help you in packaging your certification. So don't hesitate, approach Crystal or myself. This will be a great thing for you.
Yeah, so that's the steps to changing and having the power to make changes in our own community.
That's right.
Just doing those simple things.
Oh, yes.
Just running a good business.
And it's always good to know that you have a coach and a supporter to help you out. And that's what Crystal and I are for you.
Yes.
When we first started, we didn't have anyone to help us. We had no coaches.
I kind of learned by trial and error.
That's right.
In fact, when I started my business, I kind of left a pretty good corporate business job, and my friends were like, "Are you out of your mind? Well, what you doing? Why you doing that?"
Yeah.
And because the desire, it was there, the passion was there, and I was being called, so I had no choice but to go do that.
Yeah.
But it was nobody.
Yeah.
Everybody were 9-to-5ers.
Just remember that many are called, but only a few are chosen.
I feel like I'm in the military. Many are called,
but a few are chosen.
But we have a lot of people now. A lot of people are doing it now.
That's right.
The proprietor of the studio here, Miss Felicia, out there doing her thing.
Much respect and big up for Miss Felicia. She's been doing great within her business as well, and we're helping to do whatever we can to help push her out there, and we want to see her on the BET Awards, receiving an award for the media.
So we want to wish everyone a happy Memorial Day weekend, and we will see you next week on June 2nd. That is my belated mother's birthday.
All right, happy birthday, belated mom.
Yeah. So we're checking out, and you guys have a great weekend, and we'll see you next Friday.
This is the Business Zone
with Crystal
and Gilbert Buchanan.
All right. Bye-bye, everyone.
Hello. Meet Larry. Larry is a general contractor. Larry is very good at his craft, but Larry has a very tough time managing his paperwork because he is busy taking care of his clients' needs. Larry just cannot find his important business documents when needed. Larry is also being passed over for bid opportunities from prime contractors because he is perceived as not ready. He doesn't know where his business license, certifications, insurance, and other key corporate documents are located most of the time. Lucy owns an auto body and collision repair shop and has been using a business management and procurement assistance program called Small Biz Pro to keep her business organized, business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. Small Biz Pro is a 3-in-1 cloud-based business management, procurement, and market research assistance system designed to help businesses become business ready, contract ready, and bank loan ready. It also provides back-office operation solutions for small businesses. Lucy is able to stay ahead of her competitors because she uses Small Biz Pro to manage her business daily. Lucy just clicks on Small Biz Pro from her tablet, mobile phone, laptop, or any internet-accessible device for data retrieval, and she's got it. Lucy introduces Larry to Small Biz Pro, and now Larry is more organized and can now find all of his documents and new bid opportunities in seconds. Larry now saves $120 in labor costs for each missing or misplaced document. Just simply go to your web browser and log into smallbizpro.net and register today for a limited 30-day free trial offer. Services start as low as $1 per day. Let's put the competition out of business. Small Biz Pro. If you stay ready, you don't need to get ready. Register now at smallbizpro.net and begin saving money. Email info@smallbizpro.net or call 626-533-1186.